CrossFit describes itself as constantly varied, functional movements performed at high intensity. But what if we use all the tools, training advice, practices, and the methodology of CrossFit, but took away just one element? What if, instead of becoming constantly varied, we went all in on one particular movement? Ben Bergeron, head of CompTrain, says that when his top athletes have a weakness, they work on it relentlessly. They will perform said weakness 3 times a week. And if it's a bleeding weakness that could potentially derail their CrossFit season, they will hyper-focus this said weakness every day for 30 days straight. Applying this mindset, using their techniques, and finding the best approaches to achieve these goals, I'm going to teach you at home how to crush your goals, see improvement, and fill those holes. This challenge is called Ground Zero. I'll do what it takes to make you believe. With my heart and hyperdrive, we do what we want, but when I'm free, with our hearts on hyperdrive. What's going on, beasts? Welcome back to Ground Zero, episode 4. Today we start week 2 of the training program. If you haven't checked out the previous videos, do check them out. The link will be in the description. Today we're going to talk about strength and getting strong being a choice. A lot of people think about strength and inherently lead towards 2 main things, which is genetics and lifestyle. Lifestyle obviously playing a bigger part, in my opinion, than genetics when it comes to building strength, but not going to the gym. So if you're like a concreter, bricklayer, some sort of manual labor-based job, you're going to be stronger than someone who's sedentary and does nothing and sits down and office work, etc. Obviously, genetics plays a huge portion in what you're going to be strong at and how quickly you're going to get stronger. These are the things that we have to consider when we are looking at training, but I believe that getting strong is purely a choice. For a lot of people, putting in the work is the thing that will differentiate you from becoming good, great, and a professional at something. The amount of time you dedicate to a task, the amount of effort you put into that task, and I guess the level of commitment you are to seeing that task through. Getting stronger isn't necessarily a science per se. There is science-based training and there's a science-based approach to it, but it's pretty straightforward. You progress each week by getting stronger through things like progressive overload, so adding load, weight, resistance, tension, as in this case, and a whole range of other things, and this will help improve strength. But purely just being consistent is going to get you stronger in the long run. Doing something more often will get you stronger in the long run, and being more methodical and practicing things like technique, mobility, and eating the right foods and sleeping the right amount of time will also enhance this ability. But generally I find tons of people just don't lift, or they just don't try and get any stronger in a particular movement, which is the reason why they either stay the same or they see very little gains in their actual lift itself. Jumping into the program today, we are hitting week 2, and this is the tempo bench press. This is the exact same format as last week, except we've got an extra set and 5% more weight. So it's 4x5 at 55%. The tempo remains the same: 3 second lower, 1 second pause, 1 second raise. And as mentioned in the previous week, this is all about building that technique, which is, as I mentioned, what's going to be the differentiator between you becoming good, great, and a professional. I'm purely just looking at going from being good to being great. I'm not planning at all to be some sort of professional powerlifter, professional CrossFit athlete, and per se. I just really enjoy helping you guys get better, get stronger, get fitter, get faster, and learn all the basic science behind all of those movements. Moving on into the rack press, this is once again same rep format as last week, 3 sets of 8+, but this week we are calling on an extra 5% on that weight. So the goal is to try and see if you can match your last week's percentages. I believe I was probably better than last week. I think I performed better than last week, but I don't think I got any extra repetitions on the intensity set at the end. I think I just matched it with 8 repetitions. So once again, the rack press, the goal is to develop that lockout strength. It is something that I have struggled with inherently with all of my bench pressing, but I'm feeling like it is getting better. As you can probably see through this video, the lockout isn't looking too bad, and the weight for this is like 92.5 kilos or something like that, which this is the heaviest I've ever rack pressed, period. So I'm just impressed that I'm able to move the weight as it is, and this is the intensity set. I actually don't remember how many I got, but I'm counting as we're talking. With these, like I mentioned in the previous week, it's all about just trying to put as much effort as you can to that final set, as this is the last weighted movement. We are looking at, I guess, getting rid of any extra energy that we have, and really focus on trying to maximize that lockout. I think this might have been 6. I didn't count that right, but yeah, a bit of a struggle on that movement, but like everything, trying to improve, get better, and be stronger. So moving into the final movement, as Jess comes into the room, we've got same as last week, using last week's numbers. If you didn't max out last week, I'd highly suggest max out your first set, get as many reps as you can, and then -2 for our 8 RPE, and then the remaining sets will be at that -2 max effort set range. So for me, 14 reps. I've got 3 sets of 14 of the med ball push-ups. Hopefully this has a lot of carryover into my regular push-up. I believe it will, because it is that tricep lockout. Regular push-ups uses an inherent amount of core strength. Most people neglect that core strength, that core and that upper back strength, to try and maintain that nice flat back position, but this is purely that tricep lockout portion of it, as we look at the final set of this movement. But just as I harped on in that beginning of the video, getting stronger is a choice, and for you guys at home, what I really want you guys to focus on is find what you are weak at. Find what you struggle with, particularly in the movement you're looking at improving. If you are trying to work on your bench press as well, is it that bottom half of the movement that you're struggling with? Is it the top half of the movement you're struggling with? Is it the technique you're not too good at? Is it leg activation? Potentially maybe whether you should be arching or you should be flat benching. These are the things you need to work out, and using sessions like the barbell bench press sessions, it can be a great way to work that technique out, work what you need to work on. And as you can see, my bench press is a little bit diagonal. I don't actually know why that was happening, but that's fine. But figure out what's going to work for you, and figure out what you need to work on and improve on, and really double down on those weaknesses, because we want to get stronger. We want to choose to get stronger, and the only way we're going to do that is by focusing on those things that we are currently lacking. That's really the crux of the video today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who is looking at improving their bench press. As this series progresses, of course, you can check out each of the day's workouts and join in with me. Otherwise, if you do want the full program, absolutebeast.org is where you can get that one, and it is the 30-day hyper-focused bench press program. Without further ado, you guys stay a beast.